Hey guys, it's me, MLP Sunsparkle, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can clean rust out of my little ponies. So this is a G1 baby bouncy, and she has tail rust. I didn't realise for the about 2 years that I've had her that she had rust, but basically to check, just look at, sorry pony butt, but look at here and you'll see it's kind of dark and brownish. It can be green, orangey, any colour that isn't the tail colour. Is a telltale sign that your pony is rusty, because they have a metal washer basically around here, and that can rust if the pony is exposed to water or just damp conditions. So I'm going to be showing you how to get the washer out and clean the tail so that your pony is like new again. Okay, so now we have to take the head off in order to get access to the washer and remove it. You could take the tail out, however the washer will remain inside as it is a lot bigger than the tail hole. So basically what you're going to do is you just want to pull at the neck. This one already has like her neck glue broken quite a lot, so it's going to be pretty easy to remove. Honestly, I'm not the best person to give advice on removing heads because I would only remove their heads if it was easy enough. I'm not that skilled. So you just want to pull at the head, basically. I'll be back once I've got the head off. Another thing worth noting is sometimes you don't need to completely break all of the glue. As you can see, it's still attached in this area here and at the front. However, it is loose enough that we can pull it. Now do not cut the head off. I do not recommend using anything sharp near them. I would just a lot of patience and a bit of heat. But this has come off just pulling, and you will start to see this little piece emerging. Don't know what else to say, and there we go. I know it's awful, but head popped. So you can see inside the pony now, and you can see that there's nothing inside the head, so this is a very minor case of rust. Her head is all fine, so we do not need to bother doing anything to that. And then if you can look inside the body, and you can see that there are a few tiny little black spots, which is little pieces of rust, but nothing major. There's maybe a little bit in her back leg, but it is not anything serious, so I will probably leave it. I think that's just extra plastic, to be honest, with a few bits of rust in. Looks like plastic. So now I will show you how to get the tail out. Okay, so now we're going to be removing the tail. Now you could do this through the outside, but you could like put strain on the plastic here, and also the washer won't come out, which will just mean that it will continue to rust away inside the pony. So you really don't want to do that unless your pony isn't rusty, but then again you don't need to take the tail out anyways if it isn't. So just push and twist lightly. Make sure to untangle the hair after every few twists, otherwise you can get into a big mat. I've learned that the hard way. Also, it helps with the pony squishy, so if it's not squishy, then I recommend using a hairdryer to heat it up. Don't put it directly on the pony, but put it around the pony, or a hot water bottle, anything like that. Will warm up the pony and make it squishier. G1s I find are the easiest to make squishy. That goes for the neck glue as well. I managed to melt a G3's neck glue using a hot water bottle, but she was squishy, so it's much easier to remove the head. Sorry for rambling, I'm just, don't really want to see me pull out a pony's tail in silence, so here we go. You can see here that the tail is starting to come out. See the washer right there with a bit of rust on it. So you just want to keep twisting and pushing the tail in, and now you can see there's the washer. So we're getting there. I just want to keep doing this until you can grab the tail, and it should, if you push the button, come out of the neck hole. Still not quite there yet, so just keep going. I haven't taken the head all the way off because it's still factory sealed, and if I can leave the seal intact, then that's great. I don't mind. It's quite nice if it can be left intact, but if it can't, it's not the end of the world, don't worry. Okay, right. This is taking a bit longer than I thought, so I will check back with you once I've got the tail a bit further out. Okay, so as you can see, I've managed to grab the tail now. Once you've pushed it in so far, you can squish the pony and the tail should come forward enough to grab, and then just grab the loop of hair and pull, and it should work its way through. Her hair is quite frizzy. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So it might take a bit of pulling, but keep going, and there comes the tail. There we go. So now your pony has no tail, so just pop her to the side. As she doesn't need cleaning out, we can just pop her head back on. There we go. That's as easy as just pushing it back in, and it won't turn because it's not fully broken, but if it was fully broken, her head would be able to turn, but I haven't broken the seal completely. So there is baby Bouncy without a tail. Pop her to the side. So here is the tail. You can see it's a very, very minor case of rust. That is the only rust stain on the tail. And here is the washer. It's just so happened to rust right where it touched the tail. And that is the only reason why the rust looked so bad, is because it was on the tail. There is not really any rust inside of her, so she is totally fine to just be put back together, to be honest. The only thing is getting this tail out. I would suggest just taking a little piece at a time and trying to pull it out. It can happen. If the pony's hair is silky, you will have no problems with this, and it's really not a problem with a bit of frizz. So there is the washer. Oh, it's quite rusty on that side, but I've seen definitely worse. I've had ones where they just snap into pieces, or there's not even a washer because it's crumbled so much. So now you can clean the tail using a bit of toothpaste. Just rub it in with like a toothbrush or something, not your own toothbrush, please. Please don't do that. Just rub it in, leave it for a few seconds, and then rinse out, and it should be gone. You can also use a mix of baking soda and water. Soap, I think, should get it out. Pretty much anything will get this rust mark out. And then condition the tail, because all three of those will dry out the hair, so give the tail a condition and a wash. You can also use baby wipes. I've found they remove the rust stains well, and if you've got a pony with really obvious rust that you can't clean out, but you want her to display nicely, then you can use a baby wipe to get quite a bit of this orange staining off of the tail, so she still displays nicely even if you can't clean the rust out of her because her head's stuck on or something. I have quite a lot like that. So as the the tail is out, I'm going to go and clean it. Obviously I can't clean it on camera because I will get the iPad wet, most likely. I'm a bit of a klutz, so I will be back once I've cleaned the tail. Okay, so I'm back, and here is the tail. It has a little bit of a green tinge to it, but literally this brushed out with my fingers. I literally just rubbed it out a bit, and I managed to get a lot of the stuff out, so I think it was more like a dusty sort of stuff than an actual stain. You can remove the like the coloured tinge with whatever you like. Any of the methods I mentioned will work just fine, and you can look at the little thing that holds the hair together. There's a little metal clip, and that is all good as well. I don't recommend removing that. If it is rusty, it should be okay. I can't say I've ever removed one, but if you can manage to remove it, I think you'll need some pliers. Then replace it with like a cable tie. Will work perfectly fine in place of it. Just make sure you keep all the tail together so you don't lose half of it. Otherwise your pony will have a rather thin tail, and make sure that the tail is folded in half like this. That's why the pony's tail sometimes seems to be in two halves. It's because it is one long piece of hair with this little piece in the middle, and it's folded over. So make sure that you put it back if you are to take the little clip off, but if you don't, you usually don't need to. I've left rusty ones inside ponies and I haven't had any further problems with tail rust, so I think it's mainly this washer here that is the trouble. So as long as you take that out, you're all fine. So I'm not going to put the washer back in, obviously, because it's rusty and we don't want tail rust happening again. You can try and clean it. I'm sure there's some rust product that will take it off of metal. I'm sure it's the same as treating anything else rusty. But for now we're going to put the tail back into Bouncy because she doesn't really need a further cleaning. So literally just put the clip over the little hole and then just push until it goes in. If your pony's squishy, it will be a ton easier, but it will be quite hard if the pony is rock solid like a G3. They're very hard to get the tails back in, and you're best off using methods that people who rehair use than this method. So just push and then it should go in. You can see it's still in there a little bit, and then push, and there you go. Now just squish the pony a bit because their butt will be a bit misshapen. On G3s it can happen a lot that their butt will be like a big flat edge on it, and you don't really want that. So make sure to heat up the G3 a little bit before you put the tail back in to avoid that, or afterwards, either way. So there we go, Baby Bouncy's tail is back in, and you're done basically. Tail's back in, pony is happy, and she looks just as good, just better, because she no longer has the big brown stain on her tail. So there we go, that is how to remove rusty washers from My Little Ponies. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!